I'm here to with Ryan Kelley. He's walking around. He's going to be the next governor of Michigan. He is a true conservative, anti-vaccine mandates. If you want to take the vaccine, that's your, he's for freedom. Anti-vaccine mandates, anti-lockdowns, anti-critical race theory. He wants to put in the schools education about America, American history, the Constitution. We need all that because we have children growing up who are being taught to hate America. Okay? So Ryan is ready to fight for the people of Michigan. He's been fighting for a couple of years now. He was an activist at all the Stop the Steal rallies, and then God put in his heart to run for governor. So look him up. He's going to be doing some great things. Ryan Kelley.
Thank you.
What is your name? My name is Cynthia Burley. I'm his campaign manager.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Overreach at unprecedented levels. We've seen the implementation of communism. We call it what it is. We see people like Joe Biden give State of Union addresses that says, the Constitution, we the people, that's us, the government. How do you feel about that? I'm not too happy about that. Boo, that's right. It's exactly right. But that's why things like H.R. 1 for the People's Act is not a lie. They just don't say what people it's for. And it's time that we, the people, who have had enough of what we've seen in Michigan, who've had enough what we've seen nationally, step up and do something about it. We are one nation under God. In God we trust. And if we are not one nation under God, we are divisible. And that's what we see happening right now in America, is division. We see a federal government that wants to create a narrative. Artisha, you mentioned that a little bit ago with your Black Voices for Trump. Okay, Joe Biden and the Democrats want black people to think that they're too stupid to get an ID. That's the narrative that they want to push. You're too dumb to get on the internet. That pushes us apart. Things like critical race theory is destroying our schooling systems. My Michigan First policy with our education advancement knows that critical race theory needs to go. It's divisive, it teaches hate, it does not teach American values. Things like the 1619 Project, teaching our kids that America is a terrible place, is disaster for our country moving forward.
Yes.
Education advancement needs to happen, and it needs to happen now. The indoctrination of the left is destroying our kids' minds. What are we going to do about it?
Get rid of Governor Gretchen.
Well, yeah, that's one of the things too. So, I've seen so many people transition out of the public schools and into homeschooling. I don't know if you've seen that trend as well, but schooling really starts with the parents. I was over in Sterling Heights, and there was a lady there that was working the counter at the hotel, and I got chatting with her while she was getting me my room. I went there, and they didn't require masks. Okay, mask mandates shouldn't be a thing. When I'm elected governor, mask mandates will disappear instantly if they're not gone by then. Okay. And we all know that. We all know that things like that need to happen, but it is really so much more that needs to happen in the great state of Michigan. Now, I'll tell you, my Michigan First policy agenda will address some of those things, but me being elected Michigan's governor is not the answer to all of our problems. The answer to all of our problems is us being involved. The answer to our problems is us stepping up at all levels of government. School board is one of the most important things that we can do to be involved with the future of our country. The school board is where the decisions are made of what curriculum is going to be used. The school board is going to be directing that younger generation to either A, be instilled with American values, or be instilled with liberal doctrination that's going to teach them that America is a bad place. America is an amazing place. Why do people want to move to this country?
It's amazing.
It's beautiful.
Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. The American dream is why they want to come to this country. Because here in America, you have the opportunity to start with $100 and take it to whatever level of success you want to see. That's why they come here. Yes, absolutely. Let's talk about that. Jobs and economy, right? I was told that we need to open up our state. Absolutely. Do you realize that that's only about 10% of the solution? That's so surface level to say, oh, we need to get rid of the restrictions on government. Let's open things back up. Let's let restaurants full capacity. Let's take away the restrictions on business. Part of the trouble with that is that it's not really what's slowing our economy down. Because I was walking into a store the other day and this gentleman runs out. He says, hey, Ryan Kelley, I recognize your truck from TikTok. You're running for governor. I'd like to meet you. I said, hey, sir. He tells me he's inside meeting with some people, and me being me, I love talking, I love mingling. I said, can I come join you guys? So instead of doing what I needed to do going over here, I went in and sat for 90 minutes and I talked with these folks over here. Business owners, they're chatting with me, and I said, hey, what's some of the issues that you're seeing here in the state of Michigan? He said, look, I'm an employer. A year ago this time, I had 140 employees work for me. I got 38 now. I can't get people to come back to work. They're incentivized to sit home. They make just as much money to sit home, maybe a little bit more. Maybe they could make more by going back to work, but why would they want to work for 40 hours a week for an extra $1,000 a month when I can just sit home and do nothing and make just a little bit less? If we want to get our economy back booming again, if we want to realign with freedom and prosperity, we cannot be incentivizing people to sit home and get paid and not work. That's the problem. The jobs are out there.
Yes, they are.
The companies are begging for people to come back. I was up in St. Clair County last week, and a gentleman told me, hey, he just bought this place, pennies on the dollar, unfortunately, because the person before went under. And he said, look, I'm out here working 13, 14 hours a day, not because I want to, because I don't have anybody else that will come here and work. The trouble with our economy is the fact that we are incentivizing people to stay home and not work and collect unemployment. That's not just coming from the state, that's coming from our federal government as well. That's a big problem here in Michigan and all around our country. How are we going to have a booming economy again if we don't get people back to work? We need to take away all of those bonuses that they'll get through unemployment. We don't need to have people thinking that the American dream is me living in America and the government sending me money while I'm here daydreaming. That's not the American dream. The American dream is going out and making a life worth living. And we all know that, right? We're all here, we're all patriots of this great country. We understand that. It's a matter of us making sure that we have somebody that's going to be elected to these different offices that's going to say that and follow through with it. Ron DeSantis, you guys all know about Florida, right? What's going on down there? He just decided that all first responders get a $1,000 bonus.
That's right, they've been working hard. There you go.
What would it look like if we said here in Michigan, let's say to everybody that's on unemployment, go back to work, we're going to give you a $1,000 bonus. If you go back on unemployment, you quit your job, you're ineligible for unemployment forever.
Right.
Give them the incentive to go back to work. Here's $1,000. We need to take that unemployment and figure out a way to get people away from it being sufficient, or being...
Dependent.
Dependent. Thank you. Yes, dependent on that. There's a lot of other things I probably could share. I don't know how long you guys want me to talk. They told me I had 2 hours. We're 10 minutes in, so buckle up, right? America's worth fighting for. People ask me why I'm running for governor, because I believe in this country. I believe in our Constitution. I believe that those that have fought wars previously to make sure that we are securing our rights in this country, we need to make sure that they don't die in vain. We need to stand up for them, our great veterans of this country, and we need to do something right now, because in 50 years from now, there's going to be one of two stories that are told. One story is that 2020 came, things got bad, 2021 came, people didn't really do much, communism took over, the Constitution of the United States of America disappeared, and freedom in America went away. Now, I'll tell you what, I don't want that story to happen. The story that I want to have happen is that in 2020 things got bad. Patriots woke up. Patriots said, not on my watch. In 2021, they got involved like more than ever. They stood their ground. They stood the test of time. They said our Constitution is worth fighting for. They said America is worth fighting for. Michigan is worth fighting for. And we secured freedom for those next generations, because just like Ronald Reagan said back in the 80s, that freedom is one generation away from being gone. Right now is what he meant. You're living it. I'm living it. Which part of the story are you going to be on? Are you going to be on the part of the story where you did nothing and we left our kids communism? Or are you going to be part of the story that said, hey, I got involved. I'm running for governor because I feel like God led me to this. And maybe this is a role I can play. Maybe I get to inspire people to be involved all over the state and the country. And I'm traveling all over the state and I'm seeing just that. So that's exciting. People like us have had enough of the current governor. We've had enough of the liberal indoctrination, and we want America. I want America. Does anybody else want America? Or do we want communism? So now's our time to step up. Now is the time where, in American history, we get to play a role just like our founding fathers. Because when we have people like Joe Biden say that, the government, that's us, we the people, the actual we the people in the Constitution get to step up and make sure that we remind them that we are the ones that run this country.
I have a question for you.
Yes.
So it was just announced that Chief Craig out of Detroit's running for governor.
Yes.
Do you feel, does anybody here, even though Chief Craig did a great job of calming the riots when other major cities were being burned and destroyed, do you feel that Chief Craig has a backbone to stand up against communism and socialism? Do you really feel that? Do you think that he's going to stand out and speak out against indoctrination, communism, and socialism? And how are we going to support Ryan with someone like Chief Craig that's running on a Republican ticket for governor in 2022?
Wasn't he always a Democrat?
He's running on a Republican ticket.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts, Ryan?
Administration, maybe?
My thoughts are that he in 2020, yes, helped keep riots from happening in Detroit widespread. Good job. Does he have the backbone to do the things that you said? I don't know. But I'll tell you what, here's what we need to do for the state of Michigan, because this is not about me. This is about us. And may the best person win, because I'm willing to go live on TV with any of them and talk about the things we've done and the things that we're going to do, and may the best person win. I know that I have a backbone willing to stand up and do the things that need to be done and say the things that need to be said, because if you Google my name, you'll see the track record.
Kelley!
You will see the things that I've done in 2020 have been, to most people, probably something that would have made them sit down. So I'm going to share a couple of stories here real quick, and then we'll go back to the Chief Craig thing. Because in April of 2020, when all of these COVID restrictions started to happen and all the things went down, I wasn't feeling it. So I wanted to be a voice of hope for the state of Michigan. So we started planning rallies, and the death threats started to come in and all that stuff. And I said, hey, I'm a big 2A guy, so you better aim really, really well if that's the direction you want to go. But nothing ever came of that. Anyways, when we saw all the riots happening around the country, there were statues being ripped down, right? You remember all of that? They were burning down cities, they were lighting things on fire property and tearing down statues. In the little town that I live in, there's a little American History War Memorial. And a BLM Antifa group caught wind that there was a Civil War statue there. Confederate soldier, Union soldier, young kid holding a little tablet that says freedom to slaves. And that was racist. So they were going to go have a protest there. And they were going to tear down the statue. So they called me up, some people in our town, some patriots in our town, and said, Ryan, what do we do? I don't know, let's go stop them, right? So we called a couple of people, I showed up, I'm opening carrying, got my bullhorn, right? The silent majority is no longer silent. We showed up, there was a bunch of AR-15s, all sorts of weapons everywhere around us. We were there peacefully. We were there to keep the peace. We were there to say, you're not ripping down the statue, you're not burning down our town. Guess what? The statue's still there, the town didn't get burned down.
Yeah.
We stood our ground then.
That's how it should be.
And I took a lot of arrows in the media because, you know, I was a white supremacist, I was a racist, I was a terrible person, we showed up with guns, how dare we, blah, blah, blah. They wanted me to be scared of that. They wanted me to be scared when they said, you're a racist. That I would be like, oh no, please, don't say mean things about me. And I backed down. I took the arrows, I said, you got anything else? Keep on coming. They tried to cancel my business. I'm on the planning commission out there. They showed up at all the meetings, right? Oh, Ryan, racist, he's terrible, right? Cancel him in front of everybody in the town. I took the arrows and I said, keep coming, is that all you got? America's worth fighting for. So I'm still on the planning commission, number one, right? Because we don't back down to bullies. We don't back down to bigots. That's what the left is. We stand the test of time. So moving forward, there were some other things that happened. They tried to cancel me, swinging back around, and then January 6th came. I was in Washington, D.C. on January 6th. Why? Because election integrity matters to me. I wasn't there against America. I wasn't there for an insurrection. I was there with 1 million plus other people in support of the United States of America. I wanted to see election integrity from our federal level down. That's what we were there for. We weren't there to destroy anything, and whatever happened there with those people, we'll let you make up your own mind, but we know what the left-wing media does, right, with their narratives. So we were there in support of America. But they think they saw pictures of me there, so guess what I had? I had media pounding on my door at my personal residence. My wife and my kids live there. Pounding on the door. Ryan, tell us about your involvement in the insurrection. Said it wasn't an insurrection, number one. Number two, we were there in support of America. Number three, go live on TV and talk to me about it. No, we won't go live on TV with you. Why? Because I'll smash your little narrative into the ground? Because your lies won't stand the test of time with me? But anyways, they wanted to cancel me again, wanted to shut my business down, they wanted to kick me off the planning commission, they showed up, they said the meanest things. You know what I did? I took the arrows. I said, is that all you got? I'm still going to stand up for America. You will not cancel me. You will not shut me down. Why? Because America is worth fighting for. Because God's on my side, and when God's on your side, you know what? You have nothing to worry about. And so I've taken the arrows. So you go back to Chief Craig, you want to talk about that. I have the track record of taking the arrows, and I'll tell you what, I don't care what somebody wants to interpret this as, I had zero intention of running for governor when I did all of that. That was because I don't want to leave communism to my kids. That's because I love this country. That's because I wake up in the morning and I'm drinking my coffee and looking up at the sky and proud to be Americans playing in my head. I'm like, God, what are you doing right now? Because I love this country. Because life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness is in every bone of my body. I'm an entrepreneur because I know that you can come from nothing, you can have nothing, you can start over from scratch, and you can make whatever life you want. That's America. America has a geographical location, but America is an idea. America is a place where we as people can come together and say, look, I can be who I want to be and create whatever life I want to create, and I can fail, and I can pick myself up and do it again. You don't get to do that anywhere else around the world. That's what I teach my kids. I teach my kids that America is an amazing place, that you can become whatever you want to become. And that our Constitution is something that should never ever be forgotten. Because I was sharing with some of the people here, constitutions of other countries around the world, it spells out what the government will allow the people to do when the government gives them permission. I've read the Chinese Constitution. I've read the Russia Constitution. You know what our Constitution does? The exact opposite. Our Constitution lays out the limitations on government and gives the rights to the people that the government can't take away because they're unalienable and they come from God. That's why people want to come here. Because our Constitution puts the people in charge, the people in power, gives us the rights and limits the government. All the rest of the constitutions are the opposite. It gives the government the power and it limits what the people's rights are. That's why people come here. So when I teach my kids, tell me about the First Amendment. Government can't tell us that we're not allowed to freely speak. Government can't tell me I'm not allowed to be a Christian or whatever religion you want to believe in. The government cannot take away your right to meet with people, and that's a big one in 2020, right? The First Amendment says that you have the right to peaceably assemble. That means if I want to have my restaurant open at 100% capacity, you don't get to say no, because I have the right to peaceably assemble. There's no limitations on that as well. Do you notice that? That it doesn't say that, well, if there's a scary marketing campaign, that you're not allowed to peaceably assemble. It doesn't say that, well, if we think that there's something bad that's happening and we really don't want you to do it, that you're not allowed to do it. There is no limitations there, and that's what's special about America. And those stories that I'm talking about 50 years from now is preserving those very things or allowing our Constitution to dissolve and become just like the constitutions of those other countries that gives the government the power. And that's exactly what Joe Biden and his regime wants to do. We the people, that's us, the government, they want the control. They don't like a constitution that says shall not be infringed, while they try to shove down legislation that infringes upon that because it's for the greater good. That's the test that we're up against right now. That's the test that we all are facing. And you can not like that. You can say, well, but my business is doing well. And it's really nice in the Bahamas. And that's so early 2000s, guys. Right now, we are at a time where we're being called to step up and be involved and make sure that we save America. Ronald Reagan let us know. And right now, we're in that generation that is real close to losing those freedoms. And it's scary to see how many people comply. It really is scary to see the number of people out there that think if I just comply a little longer, it's going to go back to normal. When do we say 15 days to flatten the curve that's turned into 15 months to flatten to the state that's turned into if 70% of the people don't get the jab, you don't get to go back to normal? I'm sorry, that's not the rules of America. But if we allow it to be rewrote, that is the rules of America. We're watching it be rewrote right now. We're watching people go, yeah, better just get the jabs so we can go back to normal, 70%. That's what the government said. We're teaching our kids that masks on your face because you might end up hurting somebody else by being you. That compliance that's coming along with that is what's being taught in our schools right now to our children. My kids don't wear masks. My kids have never worn a mask. I wake up in the morning and I say, are masks normal? And they say, no, not in America. Exactly. That's what we need to be teaching our children. Who's that up to? Us. It absolutely is. Not all hope is lost either, guys. It's really not. Not all hope is lost. We have a very bright and hopeful future. You know why? Because there's millions of us. There's millions. When we look at 75 or whatever million people voted for Trump, I think that number's low.
Yeah.
When we say that 75 million people voted for Trump, that doesn't reflect the number of supporters of Trump. Because I'll tell you what, unless my kids voted for Joe Biden because the Democrats like to do stuff like that, they didn't vote and they support Trump. But it's not Donald Trump that they support. Let me clarify something real quick. The ideas that he brought about is what they support. Because this is not about one single person, whether it's Donald Trump or myself or you or anybody else. We the people has nothing to do with the letter I, and that includes Donald Trump. This is for America. America has to outlive us. We will outlive every single person. We've already outlived George Washington, right? He's not around anymore. His ideas are still here though, are they not? We still hold those very dear. And so here we are again with good people like Donald Trump that step up, reignite those very American spirits that were from our founding fathers here again in our nation. And have people asking questions. How can I be involved? If you guys haven't seen my pamphlet yet, maybe. When he was president-elect. But it's not up to him to save America. It's not up to any one person to save America. That's why there's multiple signers of the Declaration of Independence. Because we need more people to be involved. We need more people to step up. And we get to play a role and be remembered as, just like the founders, a group of people that said freedom is worth fighting for. We got an hour and a half left. Which topic you want me to go to? No, I can keep going. Look, guys, I'm doing this because I look at my kids and I say, if I don't make this sacrifice now, what sacrifice am I making later? But I had somebody say to me, it's not a sacrifice, it's an obligation. And I said, yeah, but it's a sacrifice. And she says, it's not a sacrifice, it's an obligation. And so I tell this part of the story because this is my obligation now for my kids, right? We all have an obligation for this country. When we say, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all, you get two things you get to decide, that that's just something you say because that's what they told us we do at the beginning, or that's an obligation, that you pledge allegiance to the United States of America. I pledge allegiance to the United States of America. Why? Because my kids need to have a country where they can grow up and have those same freedoms that I had. Because my kids need to know that freedom here in America, if it goes away, the entire world will fall to communist China. That's the plan. Communism, that's the plan. So here we are with that obligation. So I leave you with this. Look in the mirror. Figure out what you're obligated to do. Maybe it's very little. Maybe it's a lot. But follow God. Wherever He leads you to, follow Him. Because God is on our side. And in case you haven't figured it out yet, God will prevail. God always has prevailed. Sometimes it's quick, sometimes it's long, but God will prevail. Figure out your obligation, because this country is worth fighting for and this state is worth fighting for. And we will do this together, guys. Super excited. God bless you all, and God bless the United States of America.
There are laws that are written by which we abide, like don't murder and don't rob banks. Laws were recently passed in Michigan. We got one person to thank. Well, I don't steal cars, don't start fights in bars, but I'm about to break the law. If our governor keeps tightening her Corona's grip, the judge's gavel's gonna fall. Don't tell Whitmer I cut my grass last night. I dug a garden and I planted some seeds, and baby, it felt so right. Well, I trimmed my bushes and I edged the lawn, and I did it by the pale moonlight. Don't tell Whitmer I cut my grass last night. Well, you can't buy paint and you can't buy wood or do improvements around the house. There's things we're not allowed to buy. If you got them, just shut your mouth. No sales allowed on vegetable seed. Can't plant the ones you got. Oh, did I forget to mention, you can still go buy some pot. So I found my local pusher. I said, what do you got for me? He opened his coat, and there before my eyes, it was a beautiful thing to see. I paid the cash and I hid the stash. I felt guilty and I thought I can't. But temptation took over and I pulled out my brush. I used that Dutch boy paint. Don't tell Whitmer I never said I was a saint. I painted the outside of my house and I used interior paint. Painting your house in the dark of night, the lines don't turn out straight. Don't tell Whitmer I'm moving to another state. Don't tell Whitmer I'm moving to another state. Oh wait, I can't. I'm locked in the house. I can't go outside. It's not dark yet. But don't tell Whitmer. See y'all.